First of all, thank you very much for coming today. I really appreciate it that you took the time out to come. And also, I'd like to thank our presenters today as well for coming in, and hopefully you're going to enjoy the presentation. So the way how I'd like to do these Google Developer Groups is to structure them a little bit more. So one of the things is to basically have these sessions recorded so that we can use that potentially as content, so that when other people see it online, they can see that it's not, something just purely for advanced developers to come and speak and find out about, Google products. They can see that we cater for everyone, because that's what we're trying to be, a very inclusive organization. So the agenda for today is basically these. We're just going to have a little meet and greet, and I think we've all kind of know each other in some shape or form right now. But at the beginning, for all of the Google Developer Groups that we're going to have and the meetups that we're going to have moving forward, it's nice to just go and talk to somebody that you don't know and see whether there's anything that you could learn or they can help you with. So I'm going to go through some of the basics, and again, the idea, and forgive me if this is already past a lot of you, because again, the intention is to make the content so that we invite people in for further sessions. So what is Google Developer Group? What is GDG all about? We're going to talk a little bit about that, what you need in order to start developing, and then we're going to have our guest presentation. So here's a little bit of a meet and greet. Today we have Jason Berman. And Jason, do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Hi everyone. Hopefully most of you know me already. I started the group probably about 2 years ago, and originally we did a big launch at the Transport Systems Catapult. I don't know how many of you were there, but we've had to migrate due to that building closing down to the National Museum of Computing, and that's a great location, and we're going to continue running workshops and things there. But then, so Robert had the offer of this place, which we're looking to expand the group and get back to the kind of numbers that we used to have, sort of in the 30s and 40s. And then we've also got another great space within this building that we're hoping to use for bigger events like Google I/O Extended and CloudNext Extended.
Great, thank you. We have Kiran Singh Randhawa. He's not here, unfortunately. I think he's still drinking that pint by the looks of it. But yeah, Kiran is very knowledgeable in the area of things like TensorFlow and all of the kind of deep learning, machine learning type stuff. Then we have Amanda. Forgive me if I get the surname's pronunciation wrong. Cavallaro? Is that close enough? Yes. Okay, and Amanda, please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you. Okay, well, hold that thought then. We'll hold it. Okay, all right. So let's now move into a little bit about what GDG is all about. So GDGs are local groups of developers, and it's for developers who are specifically interested in Google products and APIs. Each local group, and this one is called a GDG Chapter, and we host a variety of technical activities for developers, from just a few people getting together to watch things like the videos, to large gatherings where we have demos, talks, etc., and hackathons, things like that. Google Developers supports and recognizes Google GDG chapters, but it doesn't own or manage them, and this is really crucial to understand. We're all volunteering, effectively. Okay. So specifically, what's the GDG Milton Keynes all about? Well, we meet regularly to eat pizza, but apart from that, we also discuss recent developments in Google technologies, and we try and spread practical knowledge as well. And again, that not just comes about from talking to you guys here, but again, we're going to capture this and try and share it online too. If you're using any Google products at work and you live around 3 counties, things like places like Beds, Bucks, or Hertfordshire, I think I might have spelt that wrong actually. I think that's my spell check went a little bit haywire there. Then this group is for you. So the disclaimer is that Google Milton Keynes, we're an independent group. Activities, anything, opinions, etc. that are expressed here, they're not really linked to Google in any way, apart from the fact that we're talking about Google technologies. If you want to learn more about GDG program, we've got a URL there that you can go to and find out a little bit more about it. So the whole premise of it is to learn about Google products and APIs, and there's a lot of them, absolutely tons. So the idea for Google products and APIs is, I guess the three main things, the three main themes that they fall under are to develop, to grow, and to help you earn. So when we're talking about development, we're talking about making apps, high quality apps, faster. And they've got all the basics covered in one place, and they provide a wide variety of tools. Last count, and I did this just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, was 196 different products. 196. So just want a show of hands who uses Google products for development. Yeah.
Go through each one by one.
Oh no, that'll be a very boring video. But yeah, we'll definitely cover as many of them as we can over the space of time that we have with our meetups here. So those are some of the most common ones. So things like Android, Cloud Platform, Firebase, Android Studio, Web, and TensorFlow. If you don't know what those are, keep watching, and I'm sure we're going to come across a meetup in the future where we'll explain a little bit more to you about what these and other products are. So in terms of growth, it's to help also grow and retain an active user base. So it's driving app discovery and to engage the right users at the right time and make sure that they're coming back. Okay, and again, I did a straw poll count. That's probably about 49 of the products and APIs to help you grow. Moving on to earning, they've said, and they've marketed this as tap into a range of tools to make more money. It's to help you earn money quickly with engaging ads, in-app purchases, and also to gather user insights to guide how you monetize. So with things like this, we have at least 20 products and APIs. They range from AdMob to Google Play Billing to Google Pay, etc. Now, where do you get information from? Good information would definitely come from YouTube. And there is a specific channel for all you Google developers out there who are looking to, or people who have aspirations to become a Google developer. If you click on that link that we have here, it'll take you straight to the channel. There's also a blog as well, and the blog has information where you can get current and up-to-date information about products and APIs. Now, moving on to what a GDG is. So, first of all, it's run by passionate individuals in local developer communities. Your time is precious. Everyone's time here is precious. And you have to be passionate, and you have to really care about the stuff that you're doing here in order to make this work. So we are completely grateful for people who give up their time to help these meetups run. The idea, again, is to share all of the ideas that we have about using these products, and also to network with fellow developers. It's a place where we learn about the technologies, the development tools, as well as what, things like local companies and other developers are doing with those technologies. And I'm here to help share what I've learned and how I can help you learn some of the information that I've found out over the last, I guess, year and a half. It's focused on developers, educational, technical content, and the main thing is that it's open to and free for anyone who's interested. Doesn't matter, it's free. Okay, it isn't run by a corporation. So if you or anyone within the group or the meetup start to feel like it's being taken over by a certain direction in terms of having some sort of corporate lead or whatever, it's not meant to be that. So it's also it's not a place to hear sales pitches. So we're not here to kind of try and get people to buy new products. It's focused on end users as well as consumer content. And it isn't a closed group, so we try and be as friendly as we can to any individuals who want to come in and find out more. And it isn't a group to discuss business-specific topics. There's another program for that. We are nice, we're respectful, and constructive. So sometimes there might be times where you have either like a differing opinion about a specific way of doing maybe a bit of code or something like that. It's not for you to kind of then just go and call people out straight away and say, no, the way you're doing it is wrong or incorrect. It's about making sure that you have maybe a quiet word later on and say, well, here's a suggested idea or path for improving the code that you spoke about earlier, because we're all here to learn. And there also might be very valid reasons why things are done a certain way as well. It's about collaboration, it's about participating, and that's really key. So it's not about just kind of sitting down in the background and not putting your hand up, asking questions and talking or engaging with people. It's asking for help when we need it as well. So sometimes you might have a problem and you're developing something at work or at home, and you just need to have someone to come and help you out. We're mindful as well, and that means basically just being a little bit sensitive about stuff that's happening with other developers as well, because not everybody is an introvert or extrovert when it comes to being a developer. We're all kind of different fishes in a lovely coral sea. So there's plenty different variety of people that you're going to encounter. We're supportive, and we always say thanks as well. So if somebody gives you a bit of code snippet, advice, etc., just give them a shout out, mention them on LinkedIn. It helps their career as much as it helps yours to say that, look, I found something out from somebody else. We don't harass anybody as well. So we don't keep pestering people, oh, come help me out with this or that. It's kind of, we just put it out there and wait for people to get back to us. We don't profit from GDG, so things like selling tickets to come to this, we don't do that. It is only in the case of, say, for example, if we've got a big event and we've got catering and stuff like that, where there is a cost effectively to running it, then we might ask for some money to help cover the costs of something like that, but it's not for profit. We partner with people and businesses to help with talks, venues, as well as sponsorship. So I know, Amanda, we've got you talking a little bit later on, and you'll cover a little bit more about that. And this is really, 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 really important because, strictly speaking, I use maybe a few Google products, but my background is iOS development. So I work with Swift and Xcode, but I use a Fire-based background in Cloud Firestore. So we can talk about Apple and we can talk about .NET. It's a broad church, right? Is what I'm trying to say. We're not just going to talk about Google products because we live in just a vast world here. And hands up, how many of you guys have got iPhones? There you go. Half of the people here today have got iPhones. So you get my point, right? It's not just about Google products, but we do have to talk about those technologies and how they work with other ecosystems as well. And let's talk about what you need to start developing. So for developers, there are 3 things that you need. And I know it's kind of obvious, but for those who are just starting out on the journey, you need a laptop, right? It's kind of like a given. It doesn't matter if it's a Mac or a PC, do not use your work laptop. I've seen cases of that where people have used work machines and they end up having to give it back, or they get slapped on the wrist for doing stuff like that. You need broadband as well. You can't function without it. And you need also these, potentially, these IDEs here. So you have Android Studio, IntelliJ IDEA, Xcode for the Mac, as well as Visual Studio. Okay, so this is Android Studio. It's the official IDE, or the Integrated Development Environment, basically for Android app development, and it's based on IntelliJ IDEA. Okay. This is IntelliJ IDEA. They've described themselves as being the most intelligent Java IDE, and they support a bunch of different versions to it. And the cost of that is £11.90. Last I looked, I think about a month or so ago. We recommend Android Studio. It's free, right? It's a no-brainer, that one. On the other hand, there are plenty of other reasons, good reasons why you would use IntelliJ IDEA, but we won't go into that at such an early stage right now. You can learn for free. There's plenty of YouTube videos and channels that you can subscribe to. Some of them are here. We've got Google Developers, Firebase, Flutter, and TensorFlow. If you look on Google Developers YouTube channel, these are some of the main channels that they're focusing on right now. TensorFlow heavily at the minute. And also they've just released a Flutter channel, I think about 2 or 3 days ago. So they're heavily pushing these technologies into the ecosystem. You can learn for free as well. There's plenty of free courses out there. Udacity is a great provider of free courses. You could find out information about JavaScript, for example, getting to know Android basics, such as the UI, or developing Android apps. And again, these are free courses. I think they probably last about half an hour to an hour-ish when you're starting out. But it gives you a good background of what you need to know. Here is some information as well about Firebase and Cloud Firestore. The URL will take you straight to that page, and you can learn about it because Firebase and Cloud Firestore is effectively the back end of mobile app development. It's where there's a lot of technologies which are super cool because people don't want to build vertically scaling systems. They want to build horizontal ones. It's cheaper to run, which is probably the biggest benefit. And this URL will take you to all the documentation which will explain how that works. You can learn for free about Flutter. Flutter is the native apps for iOS and Android with a single code base. And this is really exciting because I develop in Swift at the minute, but if I can do it for both Android as well as Swift, why not? And there's going to be a lot more talks, I think, about this in the future as I get a little bit more acquainted with the system myself. Even though I have started using it, I'm not an expert at the minute, but I'm playing around with it, and it's pretty cool, especially with a hot reload and things like that. So the way how I envisage this going forward is the fact that, just looking at the signups from the meetup, there was some people who came in and said, look, I'm at a basic level. We asked the question, what sort of level are you in terms of understanding Google products and your experiences with it? And we said basic, intermediate, and advanced. And we had a couple of people with advanced and intermediate, but the majority of people said basic. So, and hence, which is why we're pitching it at this level right now. The idea, though, is that people at a basic level are going to learn and learn and learn, and eventually they'll be the teachers of the people who are going to come in at the basic level. So, I mean, just to give you a little bit of understanding of where I came from, my development journey began probably about 1.5 years, 2-ish years ago, roughly. I was familiar with HTML code and so on, but yeah, I got interested. You have to find an interest, if you're watching this, you have to find an interest that really sparks and grabs your imagination, first of all, and then that is almost a catalyst to make you figure out and try and find out how your technology Google technologies in particular can support your development work. Because without that, you're just going to kind of look aimlessly at different avenues. So it's good to latch on to a particular area, at least initially, where you start to think, well, this is something that I think I can work with or do. It's hard. Development is not simple, and there's like a billion different languages. There's so many different, IDEs, ecosystems to get involved with. But that's the point of these meetups, which is that you can come here. No one's going to judge you. If I know about a particular thing, and I think I can give you a good subjective opinion about it, then you're going to get so much more information about that from somebody like me or any of the other experts here, because we know firsthand as to how something works. And we've been through that kind of rigmarole right at the beginning to understand, like, oh, it didn't work out with this or that. And ecosystems change all the time. You know, Cloud Firestore, when I started playing around with it, it wasn't even, I think it was in beta testing up until just relatively recently. It's only just been officially released I can't remember, a few days, a few weeks ago. But yeah, that technology was like so far ahead of its time. And it's things like that, because you've got a problem and you want to figure out how to fix it, means that you go looking to try and find a solution. And if you can't find that solution, sometimes you have to wait, like, which is what I've done. But then you'll eventually start learning about other things that might fit it.